Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen.
Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
This episode of Slangin The Bizkit is brought to you by our title sponsor, Sheath Underwear, greatest underwear money can buy. More on them later. You want to kick things off, Dave, with the Jason Kelce story? That one's got to be our headliner for the week.
Oh, I'll tell you, that guy that decided to try and get a reaction of old Jake Kelce probably needed a new pair of underwear after Jason Kelce turned around and decided.
You think he had Apple Care?
Well, listen, he was making light of I don't know. Is he trying to sue now? Is that correct? The person that. Let's explain the situation first for those that don't know what's going on.
Okay, so if you're on the video version of the show, I'm going to put every piece of video on TikTok that I can find. But long story short, Jason Kelce, he played for the Philadelphia Eagles for about 12 years. Super Bowl champ, Pro Bowler, all-time, one of the greatest centers I think to ever play the game. He won against Tom Brady and the Patriots in 2017. So he's doing an event, Penn State University. He's just walking down the street. He's got a sweet fit. He's got the khakis.
He's on his way to the game. He was on the way to the game. He's going to go watch the game. He was just a patron. That's it. He was just walking like a normal dude.
I loved how he was walking with his case of beer, crushing one. That was awesome.
Well, listen, you're not allowed to drink inside those stadiums. So you got to tailgate outside. I mean, he's retired now. Good for him. Go get some, son.
That's true. But so he's walking down the street. He also has no security, which I was kind of amazed by. But then this one little punk, he's probably 18 years old, if that, 5'8", 140 pounds, walking behind this 6'3", 300-pound center, this monster, whips out his phone and starts yelling at him and says, "Hey, you're a jive turkey. Your brother is a jive turkey for dating Taylor Swift." And he yelled that a few times. And then Jason Kelce turned around and said, "Oh," grabbed his phone and smashed that thing to smithereens right in the pavement. And also, I love, because everybody else was filming around the area, the look on this kid's face where he's like, "Oh, my phone, you smashed my phone." "Yeah, I smashed your phone." And then he gets in the kid's face and is like, "Who's the jive turkey now?"
That's this culture of I have a phone in front of my face, so I am immune to anything, and people are treating it like a force field now. Like, I have a phone. Listen, if you're looking for a reaction, which I think that's what the kid was looking for. He was looking for a reaction. You got one. It may not be the one that you wanted, but it's probably the one you deserved. Even the mayor sent out a tweet saying, "I probably shouldn't be saying this, but good for you, Jason Kelce." And Jason Kelce went on ESPN Monday Night Football because he was on the panel, the pregame panel, and he took 45 seconds and he said, "I'm not proud of myself for the way I acted. I met hate with hate, and that's not the way I should do it. I always live by the golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated." And he goes, "I'm going to move forward and try and do better." And so I appreciate him saying that. But I think Jason Kelce had a level of fame when he was playing football. And that's where he kind of lived for the past 12 years, as he said, when he was playing with the Eagles. And it was nothing but love when you were at home, a little bit of stuff when you were on the road from opposing fans, but it was all within the realm of sport. He and his brother do a very successful podcast now called the New Heights Podcast, which is named after their old high school. And the fact that his brother, Travis Kelce, who is a tight end, number 87 with the Kansas City Chiefs, is dating, great name for the podcast. The fact that he's dating Taylor Swift, I think, doesn't have everything to do with the success of their podcast, but a lot of new eyes and ears came to that podcast because of the relationship that Travis has with Taylor Swift. I don't think that Jason was necessarily prepared for this, but I think he knows now that people are going to come at him for all different types of things, and they're going to try and get to him however they can. And I think he had a moment of, I don't want to say weakness, but he didn't know how to handle that. And he went back to that football player mentality of, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, going to teach this kid a lesson. He regrets doing it. I don't blame him for doing it. Everything about that was wrong. But now the fact that, good old USA, the fact that this kid now is turning around and suing him, I think is a little ridiculous. I think he should just STFU, take the L, maybe ask for some money to buy a new phone, and call it a wash.
I don't know if you feel the same way. I respect him for what he did, though, because for me...
Which one, the kid or Jason?
No, Jason. I'm talking about Jason.
Oh,
no,
100%. 100%.
No, forget about the kid. Like, if anybody wants to talk smack to my face about me, I don't really care. It's water off a duck's back, right? But if you talk that way about my family or my co-host or my podcast, and you saw it last week when we were in Toledo, you better be ready for some smoke. You don't talk about my family or people that I care about that way. So if you're going to talk that way to him about his brother, whether you agree with his brother, he has a great name, by the way, I respect it. He stood up for his family. He stood up for what was right.
Well, look, I kind of similar to what I said last week about Connor McDavid when he admitted that he was afraid of ketchup, which still psychologically I think is hilarious. People now know what his trigger is, and Jason Kelce is going to have to get over that real quick, because if he wants to continue, and there's a big wide door open for him right now, huge door that's open for him right now, because he's now out of the league, very successful podcast, he is a household name now. I mean, the sky is the limit. If he ever wanted to do anything beyond football, the podcast and everything else, the sky is the limit. But now that somebody knows what his Achilles heel is, that could be detrimental. Now, whether he wants to do anything or not, if he wants to keep climbing in the ranks of celebrity, then things like that have to go by the wayside. He either has to start getting personal security, or he has to tighten up a little bit. And that's not a criticism. That's just plain old advice. Because if somebody comes at him again like that, going, hey, see what that thing? Go ahead and call his brother that thing, because we'll get a reaction out of him. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these people carry these phones around. They're looking for that viral moment. Like, Big Brother is everywhere now. And if he's going, I mean, I think society will let him get away with this once. And even when I say a lot of people are standing up for him saying, hey, he did the right thing.
He's on NBC, though. He's on the NBC football, and they just made a statement before we started recording. We don't have the full update yet, but they said we've made a decision on what we're going to be doing moving forward. So do they fire him? Do they keep him on? So that'll be interesting to see what they do.
Well, that's ESPN, which is owned, ESPN, which is part of the Disney umbrella. Don't forget, like, Disney is the top dog when it comes to ESPN and all the way down through ABC Sports. So again, that's a huge door that's open for him, huge door. So if they kind of shove this one under the rug and say don't do it again, then he's really got to tighten up. Not saying what he did was wrong, but if he wants to continue that kind of behavior, when people act like that towards him, he can't act the way he did. He can't be that big bruising guy anymore. He's got to come in with a softer touch, and he's got to be a little more even keel and level-headed about that kind of stuff. I know it sucks, because the rest of us would have done the exact same thing, but he's not just anybody anymore.
I don't hate the idea of personal security, but I don't mind the idea either of make bullying great again in 2025. Like, it's
the old F around and find out, right? And kid found out the hard way, and now unfortunately Jason Kelce's finding out the hard way that unfortunately that old school mentality of, I'm going to meet fire with fire doesn't necessarily work anymore if he wants to keep playing. I mean, if he wants to do that again, he could, but that door is going to get shut very quickly.
I still just want to know, does the kid have AppleCare or not?
Well.
Imagine he turns up to the Apple store and is like, let's get my phone fit. You're that kid. That Jason Kelce. Yeah, he did that to my phone.
Let me check the fine print. Sorry, you didn't have Jason Kelce insurance on this one. Sorry.
Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowl All-Star? Yeah, sorry, dude. This doesn't cover it.
Don't let them see you sweat, because once they find a chink in the armor, then they go, oh, okay, that's how we get to them. At this point in my career, really hard to hurt my feelings. I've been through a lot through my career, and people have said some pretty awful things about me, my family, and whatnot. And all that stuff was really, really hard. So I can understand. I really, truly can understand.
Well, you're probably the most famous Canadian radio firing in history, no?
Well, listen, it's not something I thought I would have on my bingo card in my lifetime, but here I am. Jason Kelce, there was a great commercial once upon a time, this little kid, and it's just, the camera's inside of this little kid, and he's acting like a bully, right? They go, yeah, pretending to push and stuff, and the camera pounds out, and he's by himself. And the idea was, like, bullies look pretty stupid when they have nobody to bully. So if you give them what they want, then they win, right? It's the agitator. Don't give the agitator what they want, then they just look stupid, right? So, I mean, I think if Jason would have kept walking and just turned around and said, hey, bud, enjoy the game, thanks so much, then we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. It's unfortunate. Again, I have all the empathy in the world for Jason Kelce. I think the kid was just being a stupid kid, and I hope he got a talking to by his parents when he got home for A, using that kind of language, B, picking on somebody like that. I don't think it was the right call, but hey, you're at a sporting event. Things happen.
Let us know in the comment section below. What do you think?
What was the one I saw recently of a guy? There's this big dude standing up in the upper deck of a football game at a Bills game, and he's literally finger down, like talking to this guy who's a couple steps down from him. Like I wasn't reading his lips, but I'm pretty sure it was something around the lines of "I will beat the wheels off you." And the guy's looking at him, just smiling, going, "Okay." And he put his hand on him and walked away. Then someone whispered into his ear, "Yo, that dude's a 14-0 middleweight right now. You're lucky you got away with your life." So you don't always know who you're talking to, right? But again, altercations at football games or hockey games or whatever kind of sporting event it is, tensions are high. I get it.
From one altercation to another, my fine that I got fined for, I got an update for you. Let me ask you a question, though. What do you think is going to happen first? You think I'm going to pay that fine back to the league, or GTA 6 will come out?
Well, we're about a year away from Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out from what I've been reading.
I'll do you this one even better. You'll see me starting games again for the Motor City Rockers before you see GTA 6 come out.
Wait, is that a tease? Is that foreshadowing? What? Wait, what does that mean?
No, I'm just saying, like, you would see GTA 6 come out first. Or sorry, I would play games for them before you see GTA 6 come out, because it's most likely not going to happen. Although, so this is interesting, though. And I'm just thinking about this as, we're talking about it, but the entire staff has turned over since I was there. So, like, GM got shit canned, coach got shit canned, new owners, like, everybody is out with the exception of, I think Babs is still there. And then my boy Josh Colton, he actually just got promoted to head coach because they just went through their third coach of the season, and it's November. I mean, they did it before Halloween, so 3 coaches before Halloween. That's a high turnover rate.
Would you go back?
That's a great question.
If they asked you and said, "Hey, wait, Babs got called up to the SP. We need you to come open the door for a couple games. Are you in or are you out? The offer expires in 5 minutes. What do you say?"
It's interesting. So my ego would say yes, because I really want to prove to people that I can play. I can play at the FPHL level, and I'm a damn good pro goalie. I've talked about it before. I know we talk about it every week, but it's the toughest league in all the pro hockey to play in, especially as a goalie. But at the same time, yeah, okay, a couple bucks would be nice, getting paid, $150 weekly minimum. But here in Fort Wayne, the team has me my own media intern where she follows me around, does whatever I want, and it really helps me to create a lot of cool stuff at the rink for the mic'd up videos, which is awesome. I wouldn't have that anymore. I have a very comfortable setup here where we practice 2 days a week. We play 2 games a week. I have lots of time to edit the podcast, get clips done, do meetings throughout the week, business stuff, and work on my future post-retirement stuff. If I was back in Motor City, 5 days a week, morning skate every day from 11 to 12:30. I would assume they have team workouts, which they didn't when I was there. It was actually really chill. There was no team workouts after practice. There was no community events. So that would all take time away as well. And then the long bus road trips of like 15, 12, 20 hours, depending on where we're going. So
let me sweeten the deal. And we'll pay your APHL fine.
Can we put all $350 in a wheelbarrow full of pennies and drop it off at the commissioner's doorstep?
Nickels.
Deal. I'll come play.
So are you paying the fine? What's going on?
No, I'm not paying any fines.
As in you're not going to pay it, or it just went away, one or the other?
I'm not paying it. They want to fine me $350 for flipping a net in a league that most guys have to pay to play in. We're not getting paid. There's no salary. Why would I pay you for flipping the net over because you're upset? I didn't get fined for the fight. I got fined for flipping the net over and celebrating with the belt.
If it was a golf green and you slammed your club down on the golf green, that I can see a fine for it, but it's not like you hurt the ice.
What do you think about that situation? Because we've talked about, like, my goal is to play a couple more games in the Fed, at least prove that I can play and put up some good numbers. I mean, last weekend I go 60 of 67, great showing. A lot of people are focusing on the 7 goals, but 7 goals on 67 shots, dude. I was busy. I think that's a great performance. Also squeaked out a win, got an assist, got a fight, as Dave coined it, the goalie Howe hat trick. And then my last 2 games in Vail, I went 23 of 25 in Colorado, and then I went 46 of 49. Put together 3 great games, my last 3 starts. I know it was a little tough in Mississippi and the Watertown start, but dude, I can play.
I think that if your goal is to play the highest level of hockey that you can during your prime or during your career, then you say yes. Then you go and you play, and then you hope that you make your way up to the SP and then the East Coast. I mean, I think that just speaking on your behalf, since you asked, your goal is to play the top level possible.
The biggest concern that comes to mind for me is going to be a repeat of previous endeavors where promise the world, under-deliver everything. I'm telling you, this is what the team promised, and then obviously they're under-delivering, and it's embarrassing too. Like when I'm telling you, hey, I'm going to be the second guy, I'm going to be playing some games, I'm scratched for like 5-6 games in a row, or my GM calls me and says, hey, you're going to be here for the season. I like you, we're loyal, we don't like to get rid of guys, and you're gone 2 weeks later. Like I don't want that to happen again. I have a very good setup in Fort Wayne, and I love doing our show. I love doing the videos that I'm doing right now, and I'm very comfortable with that. So I don't know. I guess it would depend on the offer and I guess who's offering it, and just to be straight up and say, hey, like I need things in writing. This is how it's going to be. And if it's not in writing, I'm not going to bother with it.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely correct. And, in hindsight, should you have done that the first time around? Sure. But now you're a little more savvy. You've had a little more experience. Now you know what the game is going in, and you would be smart to get those things in writing. You're not just going to jump out of going, yes, sir, 3 bags full. Yeah, whatever you say, because I think they kind of knew that they had you, right? So now here's a situation where, okay, what's the offer? This has to be guaranteed. There has to be safety nets in place if this doesn't happen, and make sure that you're protected because like you said, you've got a pretty good setup right now. Now, when saying all that, if they go, no, that's too much, we're going to pass, we'll go with somebody else, you got to be comfortable like going, okay, then I'll stay here.
I guess it's on a case-by-case basis. Depends on who calls, depends on what the offer is, and if I trust him or not. If I trust the guy, then I'll probably go and say, yeah, I don't need anything in writing. If I don't trust you, you better put it in writing or I'm not coming. So, well,
the other thing, too, is you got to keep in mind is the idea to play, and I'll kind of make an amendment to this question, but is the goal to play the highest level possible or to play in some of the coolest places possible? Because, the fact that you got to go over to Spain, pretty cool. The fact that you got to go over and play in Scandinavia, pretty cool. The fact that you're in Fort Wayne right now, probably not high on the list of places that you'd ever want to play, but it sounds like you're being treated there right now. So I think it's got to be a combination of how are you being treated, what's the scenery like, what are the off-ice activities like, all of those things have to come into play, what's great for video content. So I think you got to kind of weigh all of those to figure out which is going to be the best balance.
Well, and I'm also having fun in Fort Wayne, which is a big piece. I wasn't having fun in Watertown. I wasn't having a lot of fun in Motor City, especially after we got things going. Mississippi wasn't necessarily the funnest. So now that I'm having fun, I'm going to try to keep it that way for as long as I can. And also, this is just like the business side of things. Most guys don't play pro past 30 just because life comes and kicks in. My situation is a little bit different where our podcast is thriving. We're doing very, very well right now. And so where I have the ability to do all the things on a day-to-day basis on the business end of making the clips and networking, getting sponsors, or do I sacrifice a lot of that time that I use for that to go play in a league where maybe I get one start a month and I got to slug it out again? I do want to play at the highest level possible, but I don't want to sacrifice what we have with the show and some of the business endeavors that I'm working on post-retirement for after the season and whatnot. So case-by-case basis, but yeah, I would love to in a ideal world.
Well, listen, great opportunity to thank somebody that's been supporting you all the way through, and that's the crew over at Sheath.
Greatest underwear money can buy. They've literally been with us since day one. They were with us in Motor City and Watertown and Mississippi, and the deal is, even in Spain, Sheath Underwear is literally a high five for your balls. It's the greatest pair of underwear money can buy. It stops a problem that we've had since the dawn of human time, whether you're living in Canada, the U.S., or you're a caveman back in BC. Your meat and your veg, your bacon and beans, the green beans and tamales sticking to the side of your thigh. You don't want that. Sheath Underwear compartmentalizes everything. They got that bamboo mesh, the new and improved bamboo mesh, so it aerates, keeps everything cool, calm, and collected. And then the dual pouch technology, separated compartment to put everything into so it aerates properly. It is the best underwear money can buy. And if you're on the edge or on the fence, you're like, I don't know, this sounds good, I don't believe you, we're going to get you 20% off right now. You go to the link in the video description, click on that. Code BIZKIT69, BIZKIT69. We'll get you the greatest underwear money can buy. And Christmas coming up right around the corner. Like, what does everybody get dad for Christmas? Gitch.
My wife actually just went online and did a little bit of shopping on the Sheath website, and there's going to be a package on the way coming very soon, and she's extremely excited about it.
Ooh, do you think we can get like a slow-mo video of her bouncing up and down on your kids' trampoline with the underwear?
Sure, why not?
Sure, Candace. But thanks to Sheath for sponsoring the show, the title sponsor as they've been since day one. Link in the video description, sheathunderwear.com, BIZKIT69 for 20% off.
Mm-hmm.
Ever tell about the little banana story?
Tell me about your little banana, Trav.
No, not my little banana, but a banana story.
No, do tell.
This isn't my story, but so goalie starting, goes in on the road, gives up 4 goals on 12 shots, tough night, gets the yank, couple minutes in, goes back to the bench. Fans are heckling him. And this one girl beside the glass is like banging on the glass. You suck, this, that, and the other. So the goalie goes. He grabs a couple bananas, chucks them over the glass, because obviously we have like bananas and fruit on the bench. Chucks them over as like, hey, stop yelling at me, otherwise you're going to get hit with some fruit. She takes the banana, writes her phone number on the banana, slides it back through the glass, gives it to the goalie, and considering they were on the road, they made sweet, tender love after that.
Sounds like somebody got peeled after that game. Listen, everyone needs a little potassium in their life. Well, look, actually, this ties in really well. There's another perfect example of somebody who decided to get somebody's attention by chirping them, right? And look what ended up happening at the end. Let's relate that back to the what we mentioned off the top of the show, that young gentleman who decided to get Travis Kelce's attention, thinking, oh, everyone else like, hey, Kelce, hey, Kelce, hey, Kelce. Hey, Kelce, your brother and Taylor Swift, because he thought, at least I'm going to grab his attention. There's another situation where somebody decided to grab attention the wrong way. This one ended up a little bit different, honestly, even though, phone got smashed and something else did. But the fact that people, I mean, it's true, though. I mean, people sometimes will just yell out something just to grab their attention, and it doesn't always end up positive. In this situation, sounds like it did.
I mean, hopefully the test comes back negative, but...
He had a banana. He had his potassium. He's good.
I still say, I know we maybe we disagree on this a little bit. The greatest tactic in all of pro sports, backup goalie on the bench, last name's facing the crowd, look back, make eye contact at any of the good-looking ladies behind you, and just keep making eye contact. She'll look at the last name, search it up on Instagram. Hopefully she doesn't go to Elite Prospects, add you, send a message, and then boom, start the communication from there.
Well, my old roommate, and I've mentioned him a few times, but he met his, I think they're married now. He and I lost contact a few years ago, but I'm pretty sure that he met his partner that he's with now. She was at the game. He did the same kind of thing. Kind of they met eyes when he was on the bench and she was in the crowd. And next thing you know, they exchanged numbers, and 10 years later, still together.
That's a cute little love story. That's awesome.
Yeah, right? Well, that's how my wife and I met. She was actually a guest on my show.
Please do tell.
She was touring with Maxim Magazine, and she came on my show as a guest and said, hey, what are you doing later? We should go out. And so we went out for dinner, and one thing led to another. 3 months later, we were living together. Year and a half later, we were engaged and welcoming a baby boy into the world. And yeah, things moved along pretty quickly. And 15 years later, we're still together.
You know, it's funny. I remember the first time Dave told me that story, and I thought, 3 months. That's pretty soon to move in together. Hold my beer. I moved in with a chick after 3 weeks of knowing her, and we both know how that went.
Right. It happens.
Thanks for inspiring me, Dave.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that's the way to go. There's a lot better ways of doing that as far as courting, but I don't know, man. When you know, you know.
Did I ever tell you about the stinky bus story in the Fed?
How do you transition out of that? Why don't we talk about Tom Brady instead in a relationship that fell apart?
You want to talk about the stinky bus? You want to talk about Tom Brady?
Let's go about Tom. Oh, what a great story. I ever tell you about the stinky bus? Who are you, George Carlin? I don't do transitions.
What do you want to do?
Save the stinky bus for later. Let's go into Tom Brady. I'll transition off of that. Speaking of relationships that don't last forever, and when you think that they would, I'm still kind of beside myself that Gisele Bündchen and Tom Brady didn't stand the test of time. I thought they were just perfect together, and now she's gone and pulled the Dave Grohl, and she's going to have another baby. Like, wow, with Ralph Macchio.
Men and women are different, so I don't think you can compare Dave Grohl to Gisele Bündchen. We're talking about like apples to asparagus, vegetables to fruits, but I mean, in all seriousness, right? Like, we're not the same. I mean, yeah, we're the same species, but we're like two species within a species, so it's kind of hard to compare both. But so Tom Brady's married to Gisele, and like you mentioned, Dave, I thought for the longest time, like, that's your textbook couple. You got this 6'5", good-looking, charming dude. He's got the cash, he's got the status, the success. He's like the GOAT. Everybody's chanting his name. I mean, imagine being a chick and you go to a stadium and there's like 10,000 people in the stadium having your husband's last name on the back of their jersey. Like, that's got to be something special. And you think they're going to be there forever.
Well, just the fact that they were Ken and Barbie, like, everything seemed like it was just a match made in heaven. And I mean, keep in mind, he was with Michelle Moynihan. You'll remember her from, I think it was I, Robot, where she starred opposite Will Smith. I hope I got that right. I really do. But anyways, they had a kid together and everything was great. And then all of a sudden, Gisele came along. He left her, hooked up with Gisele. They got married, had a few kids, and it just seemed like that was it. They were going to be Ken and Barbie forever. And then he went, and this is just speculation from what I've read, but she wasn't happy about him going back and playing. He said he was going to retire and spend more time with the family, and that's where things started kind of getting maybe a little bit rocky. God, I feel like we're like a gossip rag now. But I just don't understand how him wanting to go do something that he loves to do and had done since they had met, the fact that he wanted to try and squeeze out a couple more years, that wasn't met with more support. The next thing you know, she's off dating the karate instructor, and now having a baby. Like, it just seemed like it happened like that. It's just, as somebody who believes in true love, it was just kind of heartbreaking.
Well, hey, like the old saying goes, don't let logic and reason get in the way of a good argument. And it makes me shake my head because, like you mentioned, Ken and Barbie seem like they're going to be there together forever, but he's also going back, and I know he retired and then decided, hey, I changed my mind, but it's not like you didn't know he was doing this. This is the reason why you met him. If he's not playing football, you have no idea who this guy is. He's just some random dude in California. So, and the fact that he's the GOAT, he's the greatest of all time, it's not like he's Joe Schmo, like somebody over here trying to milk it out for a couple more years. He's the greatest of all time. Like, you know this. And she's all bent out of shape by this, doesn't like it or whatever. They have the family. So I guess, and we don't know exactly what happened, but it's rumored that apparently she was cheating on him. I read an article the other day. I don't know what to believe in the media because nothing's really honest these days. But if I was to do the old sniff test, so she cheats on him. He gets wind of it. Tom, being the G that he is, starts transferring all the assets that he has into his mom's name over the next year. She ends up pulling the pin, says, hey, I'm going to blow up the family. I'm going to leave you. I want to take half. Oh, sorry, Miss Bunchins. Tom doesn't own anything. It's all in his mom's name. What? Yeah, you're going to be paying him, which is an absolute G move. But then, so she leaves him, blows the family up at 40-something years old, and now she's with the karate instructor, and she's pregnant, going to start a new family with this dude at 45. I just shake my head at that.
From what I understand, I think she was the breadwinner between the two of them.
Well, she was the breadwinner, but he also had all the assets that he had in his name. So, again, to minimize damage and just get everything over to his mom's name in the meantime, like that's a smart man right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, let's not get into the weeds of what separation and divorce looks like, but I mean, you got to protect yourself how you can. Again, I just think it's heartbreaking, and I mean, Tom doesn't seem to be overly bothered by it. He's a minority owner now in the Las Vegas Raiders. Actually, he got into a little bit of hot water because he was on he was doing the game. And apparently because they allowed him to continue commentating in the booth as long as he wasn't critical of the officials, which he can't do because now he's a part owner of a team. Like, it's very, very interesting the way the rules are being, set for Tom. And, it's a very, very interesting precedent that they're setting as far as, what he's able to do and what he's not. But yeah, he seems to be rather unfazed by it. I think he just goes and gets Botox every time he's bummed out so he doesn't look like he's bummed out.
I was going to say, short of having the fact that his eyebrows don't move anymore, I don't think he's done anything wrong outside of that. He's also dating, is it Ronaldo or Messi's ex-girlfriend? The Ivanka Sheik?
No idea. I had no idea.
It's Ronaldo's ex-girl. I can't remember if it was Ronaldo or Messi. It's one of their ex-girlfriends. And dude, she's beautiful. She was on, I think she was on Colbert. Maybe she was on Fallon. And they have this robot. And the robot's like, hey, I'm gay, but I'm not gay anymore because this woman is so beautiful. And the whole crowd erupts because she's just that good looking. She's a beautiful woman. I think she is Middle Eastern. Might be Russian, something like that. But gorgeous woman nonetheless. And that's his new Miss Brady.
My wife loves watching Georgina, which is a series on Netflix that follows around Cristiano Ronaldo's current wife. His wife, I shouldn't say current. Cristiano Ronaldo's wife and all of her escapades as far as being in the Middle East. And I popped my head in a few times, and boy, oh boy, she's not hard to look at either. Telling you, professional athletes, I don't know how, but they seem to land themselves great-looking women on a regular basis. It's weird. It's one of those mysteries of life.
Don't look at me.
Why? Are you kidding me? You have a beautiful, beautiful young woman who is very happy to call you her beau.
Yeah, I got a great one. I got a solid woman. Very, very happy to have her in my life. She's a wonderful addition, man. I know we talk about it off the show quite a bit, but it's amazing when you have, to put it nicely, when you have like your average woman, not looks wise, but just like your average woman as far as like what they bring to the table, and then when you have a real woman that really brings a lot to the table and is a compliment and is always happy and causes minimal drama because they all cause some form of drama. Dude, I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate. I'm very happy. So thanks for mentioning that, Dave.
Listen, man, we're both batting way out of our league, and don't forget that.
Whoa, speak for yourself, fella. You got one eye. I got two.
Speaking of batting way out of their league, I was happy to see Connor McDavid back in the lineup after they thought he was going to be out a little bit longer. I'm really, really curious to see when the Oilers are going to right this ship, man, because last time he was injured, Dry stepped up big time. He didn't quite make the same impact when McDavid was gone this time around, so I think the Oilers are very happy to have him back in the lineup, but I'm really curious to see how long it's going to take them to right this ship.
You ever notice anytime like he shows up at the games and the Oilers are posting like pregame footage of him, he looks like one of those accountants that are running late to his own meeting. You ever notice that? Like he looks like an accountant. He styles himself like an accountant. He's got like the Vans, maybe not like a super flashy suit.
Well, who is the best dressed player in the league, in your opinion?
Oof. Probably Matthews. Matthews crushes it.
Austin Matthews, a good PK Subban was up there when he was playing. I think Nick Ehlers has got a pretty good kit when he shows up to the rink. Scheifele's always looking pretty sharp too. Connor, those guys look pretty good when they come to the rink.
I saw a TikTok video the other day that was talking about Connor McDavid and the struggles that he's facing. I know there's some injury issues the last couple of years, but man, can you imagine being that guy? You wake up, the warranty on your heated driveway expires, your day's ruined. Could you imagine how great that would be? Or like your chick, like Lauren Kyle, man, she hit a grand slam when she met Connor McDavid. She's got the $20 million home, whatever they have on the beautiful area in Edmonton. Imagine that she wakes up one day, she's like, you know what? I'm gonna make some TikTok videos today. I might start a juice company tomorrow. Go make some more TikToks on Tuesday. Maybe I'll start a spin class the next week. And then make some more Instagram videos. Like, what a life that must be to be her.
Look, I think that, and this is kind of an existential thesis, but I think everything has gone exactly the way he thought it would as far as the life of Connor McDavid. And it's players like that I worry about a little bit more when their career is done. Curious to see what Connor McDavid does. I mean, he'll never have to worry about money again for the rest of his life, but is he going to be able to fill his days and be as fulfilled as he is right now by playing hockey day in and day out? Everything else is taken care of for him, down to the heated driveway. Everything. He knows what his routine is. He wakes up, he has the protein shake, he goes and works out, like he does all the things. As far as the interactions he has with friends and family, that's been basically the same since he was playing midget AAA and junior and all the way through, right? So I'm really curious to see how a guy like that transitions out. I wish him all the best, but because everything has been spot on all the way through, I'm curious to see how he will deal with adversity outside of hockey.
Do you think he has a hard time making friends?
I think when you're at a level of fame like that, you kind of side-eye everybody who you meet, kind of wondering, do they want to meet Connor McDavid or do they want to meet me? And I think he's probably very well insulated by the people that he trusts around him, and he probably has a very small circle outside of his teammates and colleagues and whatnot. Again, this is all speculation, but I just based on what I see with him from his interviews, he's very calculated, and I don't think that is a product of his being. I think that's more from training.
Well, the reason I asked that is I've documented on the show many times, but like Matt Murray is one of my very good friends, and I noticed from talking to him, like we've had a lot of great conversations, but there's another guy where he's had a lot of success, he's won some mugs, he's made a lot of good money. But that's a guy that's going to have a hard time making friends just based off the fact of, like you mentioned, do they want to know Matt Murray or they want to know me? Everybody wants money. Everybody wants something. But do they actually want to get to know you? So, for myself personally, and again, I'm nowhere near in that ballpark, and I'm sure you can relate to this as well, Dave. But just like with our show and, some of the success that I've had on YouTube and in hockey, it's difficult for me to try to make friends because, first off, I'm not a people person. I think a lot of people are stupid. But also the fact of like, do you want to know me or do you want to know the podcast YouTube guy? So I could, as I'm processing it, as I'm thinking about it, although the heated driveway warranty would be a pain in the ass, I'm sure that making friends and having a tight inner circle of genuine people that are there for you would be very difficult as well for a guy like that, especially for Connor McDavid.
Well, listen, I've had a lot of friends in my life and a lot of friends that have been out of my life, but my core of my homies from back in my hometown of Northern Alberta, we've been friends through thick and thin. And actually, speaking of which, I want to send out to a shout out to my boy PK. His son Nolan Knox made a save in hockey that I think that you would even be proud of. If we can throw it up on the screen, if you're watching on the video version, he goes back and pulls an absolute robbery from just over the line. Nolan, great save, pal. I hope I hope in the future, instead of putting pictures over the fireplace, you can get a little video that just rotates, and that's the one that goes up there because, boy, what a save. Really proud of you for making that one. And speaking of great highlights, holy smokes, can we run the video of Diamond Hands and that junior fight that you sent me as well? Man, the two back-to-back great fights. And I hate the fact that TSN, I'm calling you out, TSN and Sportsnet and all the other ones. You don't throw the fights in your highlight reel anymore. I don't like that.
Dude, 2 fantastic fights of the year. You got the 2 kids in the SJ. I think it was Humboldt, and forgive me forgetting the other team. Might have been Nipawin, but these kids are just going to town. And then the baddest man in hockey, they call him Diamond Hands for a reason. Friend of the show, he's been on the show as well. Daniel Amesbury just going to town. He got knocked down, they got back up, and just went to work on the guy for Fort Wayne. That was in Kansas City. So shout out to both of them, and shout out to your boys friend or boys goalie for that Andrew Raycroft a la 07 in St. Louis with the Leafs glove save on the doorstep.
I don't think he's old enough to shave yet, but if he is, then he should definitely get himself a new razor from Manscaped, because boy, oh boy, mine's been coming in pretty handy.
Yeah, the brand new Chairman Pro. It is awesome. Brand new for this holiday season from the team at Manscaped, the second sponsor for today's show. So the Chairman Pro, it's awesome. It helps you shave, keep it nice and clean, right down to the wood. If that's not your type of thing, you want to get a little bit of stubble, that 5 o'clock shadow, they have that attachment as well. And right now when you go to manscaped.com, you click on that second link in the video description, manscaped.com/biscuit. Use the code BISCUIT, BIZKIT. Get 20% off and free shipping only from the team at Manscaped for the Chairman Pro. And if you want to get any of their other collections, whether it's the Lawnmower 5, the Beard Hedger, I love that thing as well, any of their accessories or deodorant, same thing. Code BISCUIT, 20% off and free shipping only from the team at Manscaped. And thanks to Manscaped for hopping back on the show.
You know who I think has been using the lawnmower is Ryan Lomberg with the Calgary Flames. I don't think he has a single follicle of body hair on his entire body. He's got it all up in the top half, but I don't know if you've seen the clip or not, but he did was it pregame, postgame? He sat down with somebody from the Flames and just showed up. He should have been wearing Sheath underwear, but he was wearing his boxers, and God love him for doing so. He looked great, and if I had a body like that, you'd be guaranteed I'd be walking through Polo Park Mall like that.
Oh, man. When the game's over 10:30 and you got to do media, but you got to be at Cowboys for 11, that's the definition of that right there. That dude, he is lean, vascular, 3% body fat, big muscles. He also, not KO, but he absolutely worked Nate Bastian, whoever his name is from the Jersey Devils. Great scrap, great interview, great body. Man, that definitely deserves a shout out.
He actually said he actually addressed that fight and said he wasn't looking to hurt anybody. You know, it's just kind of the way it goes. But Stanley Cup winner with the Panthers last year too.
I picture that guy turning up to Cowboys at 11 p.m. He just finishes the media after he's in his gitch, and he's like Jackie Moon in semi-pro. He's got the fur coat, he's got the rings, the disco ball lights. That's got to be Ryan Lomberg at Cowboys in Calgary.
Man, oh man, I'm sure they could use him at Booty Shake Monday if the Flames ever come into town on a Monday night.
Ooh. Why don't you tell about that real quick? Booty Shake Monday, Palomino Clubs in Winnipeg, it's a staple.
It's an absolute legendary Monday night. What a great promotion. They actually do a huge giveaway for like $20K for all the people that win throughout the year. Yeah, my one of my colleagues, Adam West, hosted and has been for the past 2 decades, I think. But yeah, just Booty Shake Monday. It's pretty self-explanatory. You come down and you watch people shake their booty up on stage and they give away cash prizes. It's absolutely, as you said, it's an absolute staple here in Winnipeg.
Your boss at the station judges for Booty Shake Monday?
He hosts it.
Wow. You imagine being that guy?
I'm telling you, he's been doing that gig for a long time.
What's your favorite day of the week? Monday.
Every Monday. Booty Shake Monday at the Pal.
Yeah, shout out to your boss, Adam West, the radio station. Dave's also had the #1 morning show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years, if you didn't know, if you're new joining us.
No big deal. Yeah, I'm telling you, once I figure out what I want to do when I grow up, I may give up this radio thing, but I'm having fun doing it in the meantime.
Well, the ratings are coming out too soon, right?
Yeah, ratings are at the beginning of December, so I'll be sure to keep you up to date on that one.
Ooh, 21 years straight of the #1 morning show in the city.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Here's hoping. Now, do you think if Ryan Lomberg got asked to go on Coach's Corner halfway through, I think Don Cherry would approve of his outfit coming in like that? Because I remember Dougie Gilmour would come in the playoffs, black eyes, his Under Armour on and everything, and he'd get a nice big kiss from Grapes on that one.
That's honestly the first thing that came to mind, giving Dougie Gilmour a nice little kiss in the cheek. I think if Lomberg came in, because he's a Canadian boy, he comes in, he sits beside Grapes, he's got the checkerboard suit on, you give him a kiss, say, that's a Canadian boy, that's hockey right there. That's true Canadian hockey. Then he'd throw some chirp of the Swedes for being soft, or the Russians, or the Quebecois for not playing properly. I love Don Cherry, man. It's correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's got to be like 5 years to the day, something like that, for when he got shit canned from CBC. Speaking
of Grapes, where's your puppy, sir? You know what tomorrow is, right?
Yeah, Remembrance Day. I'm not a good Canadian boy. Sorry about that. I forgot to wear the poppy today.
But hang on a sec. Hang on. Because you're in the U.S. right now, I know some places do the poppy thing. Like, do you even have access to a poppy?
I don't have one on me, no. I don't know where I would get one, to be honest with you. Dave showed up, he had a poppy on, and I thought, oh, damn, I forgot about that. But to all of our military, by the way, we have a lot of military that do watch the show. As always, thank you. And if you are a member of the military, please send me an Instagram message, and we'll get you out some merch for the show as a thank you for your service, because we can't do this podcast without the military. Everything that we have is impossible without you, so thank you for your service, old and new. Thank you as always.
My eldest boy is actually going to be reading some poetry at an event for Remembrance Day tomorrow, which I'm pretty proud of. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He's a cadet, and so he was asked to, as part of his squad, to go and read some poetry at one of the Remembrance Day events that are happening tomorrow. So very, very proud of my boy.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that he can read is already a big step up from his old man.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Speaking of the military, though, you want to talk about the Jets for a second. We've covered it over the years, just about how when the Jets left in 96, things were not looking so great. And fast forward now to 24, soon going into 25, it's looking like almost history is repeating itself with the Jets. They're having a hard time selling out the building. I mean, I know we talked about it with the Pride celebration. They barely scratched 12,000 seats in the rink. And the only sellout they've had this season is the Leafs game. Obviously, Leafs fans, they're crazy. They go everywhere. They'll sell out every single building, even in Phoenix. But it's a shame. 15,000 seat arena, Canada Life Center, downtown Winnipeg. Winnipeg is horny for hockey. They love their hockey. I mean, we're patriotic Winnipeggers ourselves, but it's just a shame because with the Canadian dollar being the way that it is, with the economy being the way that it is, if you got to choose between putting food on the table for your kids and season tickets, you're picking food on the table every single time. And the Jets are actually pretty reasonably priced. I was looking for some tickets when I'm coming back to Winnipeg. I got a trip scheduled for February. And you can get tickets to the Carolina game for like $40 on Ticketmaster. It's dirt cheap. And then you look at when I'm going to Montreal the next week, tickets start like $150. So it's not like the tickets are expensive, but the dollar and everything tanking. I mean, the best team in the league too. You'd think that at 12-1 with such great goaltending, great offense, everything, that you'd be able to sell at the barn, but they're having a hard time. And I worry, Dave, that the Jets might leave. Maybe not this season, but in the near future, maybe the next 3 to 5 years, if this keeps out the way it's going.
No, that's not happening. I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. The support for the Jets hasn't gone away. I mean, there's probably even more so now than ever, but you're absolutely right. I mean, you couple the economy that's going on here in Canada, right? I mean, the dollar isn't great, and people are the decision isn't, hey, are we going out for dinner tonight? Are we going to the Jets game? Is it, are we paying the hydro bill or are we paying the internet bill this month? And I'm hearing more and more of that every day. I mean, the amount of people that are lined up at food banks, the amount of people that are starting their shopping at the dollar store rather than at Safeway, that's increasing more. So it doesn't mean that the love for the Jets has gone away. It doesn't mean that people aren't supporting. It doesn't mean they're not watching at home. It doesn't mean that they're not gathering together and watching it in groups. But going down, paying for parking, paying for a ticket. I mean, that's $40 for one ticket. Are you going by yourself? Are you bringing a family member? Are you bringing the whole family? Now that's gone up. Are you having dinner there? Are you going right after work? I mean, that's an expensive night. And it doesn't mean that the people don't want the Jets here. The Jets aren't going anywhere. Gary Bettman has been very clear on that. I don't think there's any risk of us losing the team anytime soon. I mean, for at least the next 2-3 decades. And there would have to be something extreme. Like there would have to be an extreme drop-off for it to happen. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But
well, I don't want to be pessimistic because I'd love the Jets, but when the dollar was at 63 cents, 62 cents when they left in 96, and we're hovering at 69, 70 cents on the dollar right now, Canada, US dollar. I even remember they had like $12 million they raised back in 96. Kids were smashing open their piggy banks, dropping off change outside the front of the rink because they wanted the Jets to stay. So I hope that you're right. I hope I'm wrong, but I worry because I love the Jets. I'm patriotic about it, just like you are, and I hope that nothing bad happens anytime soon to our amazing team.
No, I don't think it will. I think the fact that they're still supporting in other ways. I think that we're hopefully going to be on the upswing here in the next year or so, and of course when playoffs roll around, and we are an absolute world beater right now, and hopefully that continues on this season. I mean, on the way the Jets are going right now, they're only going to lose about 15 games this season, and that's going to put them in a top seed, and everyone's going to show up in the playoffs. And I mean, evidence of that was round 1 when the Jets were playing against Colorado last year. They had as many people outside as they did inside, so there's no lack of support. It's just the dollar's not doing good right now, and Winnipeg's not exactly a rich city by any stretch. So, those fans that scraped everything they could just to get tickets are now looking to maybe say, hey, maybe I can sell these and put food on my table. That's a real thing that's happening. That's not pretend. It's not. And I know other franchises and teams around the league are looking at it going, oh, look at Winnipeg. They're not supporting their team. Oh, no, we're supporting our team, but we're also supporting our family too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, how do you think you fix it, though? I know you've talked lots of times about Winnipeg is sitting on a gold mine of opportunity and wealth, but afraid to cash it in with different, economic endeavors. But as far as like keeping the Jets in town and like, do you just ride it out if you're the owner, if you're Mark Chipman and David Thompson? What do you do?
100%. You have to ride it out. You know the better times are coming. Not to get too deep into the politics, but this province literally is sitting on a gold mine with the amount of lithium that they have here and the amount of the silica sands. They're sitting on a winning lottery ticket. They're just too big of chickens to be cashing it in right now, especially with access to the Northwest Passage. I mean, we are a coastal province, and there have been
Can you explain that for people that don't understand? How is Manitoba a coastal province, though?
Well, we sit on Hudson's Bay, and Churchill is a major port. And, I've mentioned this before, but something that Russia, and not that I'm comparing, please don't jump down my throat, but in comparison, Russia has been running through the equivalent of their Northwest Passage rather than going through the Suez Canal. They're actually running through what they're calling it a Silk Road because the polar ice caps have melted so much that trek through the northern part of the hemisphere is a lot easier now with a lot of these container boats, and they're shipping things to China and Europe way quicker than they would if they were going the long way around. And very similar to the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal here in North America, in Panama, I guess it's Central America, but that is the thinnest part of land to get from Atlantic to Pacific. Before they finished off the Panama Canal in 1912, they were using the Northwest Passage. So, Manitoba and Winnipeg was booming in the early 1900s until the Panama Canal finished. Panama Canal, from what I understand, they need about $2 billion or else the canal's about to cave in on itself. And if it does, the Northwest Passage could be the only other option to get things into North America quicker. So you come in through Hudson's Bay, you come down through Churchill by the rail line, then you get everything out, and it literally is in the center of the entire continent. So the fact that that's available and it could be happening, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, you got to ride this out. You have to ride this out. The amount of money that David Thompson and Mark Chipman in particular have put into downtown Winnipeg they just bought Portage Place Mall. They're going to be completely redoing that, putting in affordable housing. They're going to be putting in a hospital down there. They're building hotels. They built, True North Square. The amount of investment that they've put into downtown, they have to stick through it. Like they're not letting this go.
You know, it'd be great to see if what they could do is if they would take like Winnipeg Union Station, they turn it into a hub for like buses, and even if they had like a monorail to get people up and down downtown or bring people into downtown, because everything is just so crazy with how dangerous it's getting out there, and with people not being able to afford to even have a vehicle. If you could have those buses and those trains running, I know you talked about the idea of getting trains out of the city and having buses run up and down those lines where the tracks used to be throughout the city, have it be like a high-speed transit, make it affordable. That there's so many opportunities there to make Winnipeg great. The same way that Vancouver's done with Waterfront Station, with their SkyTrain and the Rapid Transit and the C-Bus and whatnot. It's a shame because I'd love to see Winnipeg succeed.
Yeah, and they will. And believe me, I've been here for over 20 years now, and the potential's always been there. But the motto of Winnipeg for Manitoba has been steady growth. Just steady. No big booms up and down like they do out in Alberta with the oil. It's just steady. Steady increase, steady increase, steady increase. And I'm hoping at one point we're going to see a big spike and then we can be steady up at the top. But, after over 20 years here, I'm starting to wonder if that's going to happen. But it's been on the precipice for so long.
I love calling Vancouver home in the summers, but if Winnipeg could shape up a bit, I would love to move back at a nice spot. Get downtown Winnipeg, the amount of action you get there at the True North Square and the Forks and whatnot, that'd be something special, but I guess we'll see how that shapes up.
I would put Winnipeg's summers against Vancouver's any day. We have long summer days. We have beautiful weather.
Way too humid, Winnipeg.
No, it's dry as a popcorn fart out here. What are you talking about?
It's so hot. Vancouver barely gets above 20. Winnipeg's always 30 and above.
Perfect. Love it. Give me the
Hate
heat.
it. Can't stand it. Hey,
You're too tall. You're too close to the sun. That's the problem.
I know. Well, that's a me problem. I guess it just sucks to suck. Hey, you know who's been really steady, though, is Anthony Stolarz. I know we talked about him last week. I feel like we've been talking about him every single week. This guy has taken the mill. He's running with it. He is keeping them in games. He's making big saves. He looks so in control. He looks a la Carey Price 2021 playoffs. Like, he is just the man right now. He's carrying the mail for the Leafs. I think Joseph Woll is going to be out of a job. By the way, Stolarz is only on a one-year deal. He signed for, I think, $900,000, $800,000. That guy is going to be getting a nice house, a nice car, and getting paid this summer.
The Toronto Maple Leafs are finally in a situation which I think they've been begging for a long time, is they have a competition for their number one goalie, and that makes both of them better night in and night out because they don't want to give up the cage, right? So they're in a situation now where they've got two studs and they can't go wrong with whatever guy they put in, and what a great situation to be in. I don't like pumping the Leafs tires too much, but yeah, they're in a really, really good spot right now, and I know I've been very critical of their goaltending situation over the past decade or so. They're in a really good spot right now. Now it's just a question of, can they maintain that style of play? Can they maintain those averages? Because they are looking really good right now. I'm really curious to see if Alexander Ovechkin can keep at his current pace, because if he does, not only will he eclipse Wayne Gretzky's record of goals scored, he may get over 900 to be the only player to ever do that, and might be one of the hardest records to ever beat in the NHL.
Do you think that when he breaks the record, after that he'll retire like the next day? He doesn't want to go anymore? Yeah, I think so too.
Well, no, I think he'll finish off the season. He'll finish off the season because they're looking really good. Like, I mean, again, if they can do what the Jets are doing right now and stay on that pace and make the playoffs, why wouldn't he go for another cup? I mean, he will run himself through a brick wall to get another Stanley Cup and retire a champion. He would love that. That guy, he's the Russian machine never breaks, right? Isn't that the old saying? Russian machine don't break. He will go through thick and thin for that team, for that record, for another cup. I think he is done, though, after this year. He's 39 years old. He looks like an old man out there, but I give him a lot of credit. He has changed his game. I was actually watching a piece on him just showing how he is much smarter, where he used to be the first guy in. Now he's F2 or F3, and he's got that thing loaded. He's got that howitzer ready. It's not just the power play. He's getting in the right spots, and it shows how intelligent he is. He's not going to be the guy running through a brick wall anymore. His hits may be down, his ice time might be down a little bit, but he's smart, and he realizes that he needs to be in the right spots.
Do you see any world where he retires after the season without getting the record?
Yeah, I think he's done. I think he'd do. I think Strome would be smart to enjoy the time that he has with them, because I think Ovi's done after this year.
Do you think if he doesn't break Gretzky's record, he calls it after this year?
Yep.
Wow.
I don't think he'll say it until he's close to there, but listen, I think he's going to beat the record. He's what, 30, just over 30 shy of beating it right now. He's got a lot of hockey to get there. As I said, he's playing really well. Penalties are up this year in the NHL. He's going to get more power play time. I think he's beating the record. I really do.
As far as the Leafs goalie situation, though, what do you think Stolarz is going to get paid, though?
If he stays with the Leafs, I mean, their salary cap's already a bit of a nightmare right now with Nylander signing the big deal. You got Matthews, you got Marner. I mean, I'm actually not shocked, but I'm a little surprised that, because, I mean, everyone else thought Marner was getting moved just based on the salary cap. They don't have a lot of wiggle room there without suffering somewhere else, and it would probably be on their defense. I think that if they do, that they're going to sign one of the two, and they'll probably keep Wall. He'll probably go elsewhere, and he'll probably sign a nice little contract worth $3 or $4 million.
So you think they keep Wall just because he'll be cheaper?
Hey, listen, I've been wrong before.
We know I'm biased. Do you think we see Muzz at some point in time? Because Wall has been not so great. Stolarz has been great. You think they send Wall down and bring Muzz back up?
Not. He would have to have a couple of really bad back-to-back games. He really would.
It irks me when I see him getting buried in the minors. And again, I know I'm biased. Muzz is my boy. But when the guy, he's so nasty. He's a two-time Cup champion.
What are his numbers like with the Marlies right now?
I think he's floating around like a 900, 910 right now.
Okay.
A little bit of a younger team. But when he's playing and he's on his game and he's healthy, when he's been playing with the Leafs, he's been hovering around like a 920. There was one point in Ottawa, and you remember how bad the Senators were the last couple of years, where just based off the scoring chances he was getting, he was number one in the league with the Ottawa Senators for save percentage when you factor in how bad the defense is and the scoring chances he's getting. He's always been great. He moves great. He stops the puck at a consistent level, especially when he's healthy, and now he's got both hips done. I get it. I'm biased. He's my boy. But I would love nothing more to see him get a call up and see him succeed. And then we can talk about on the show about how great he is and how he is great.
Sure, but I think the Leafs know that he's there, and I think they're watching these two guys right now. They know they've got Muzz down there. They know he's rock solid.
They buried him in the last two playoffs. So like when Samsonov was dropping the ball in 23, I think it was, they call him up and then they just bury him on the bench. And then last year, same thing. He's dropping the ball. Wool gets injured because he's made of Lego. And then they bury Muzz on the bench again. Like, it just makes me shake my head. You have a two-time Stanley Cup champion. Just like the city of Winnipeg, you have this golden ticket in your hands. Two-time mug champion, world-class goaltender, big guy. He's elite. And you're not going to use him.
But again, you've got two guys who are fighting right now. They're fighting tooth and nail, and they're both young, and they're going to ride those guys as long as they possibly can. And they know they've got Muzz as their fallback. He is the safety net if they need him to come up. It could be possible. They could use one of those guys as trade bait towards the end of the year. You know, when it comes closer to the trade deadline, get that missing piece that they're looking for, ship him off somewhere. Muzz comes up, and he's sitting on the bench and maybe a black ace for the playoffs. Who knows? I also want to talk about Kasimir really quickly, but before that, let's mention our last sponsor of the show today.
Team the Ridge Wallet's Christmas special, the Ridge Wallet. We're talking about a badass wallet. It's light, it's sleek, it's stylish, it's durable, it's compact. Holds up to 12 cards. The fact that you can attach an air tag on it, I'm super forgetful. Sometimes I forget my wallet. You can pin it to your phone. Boom, there's my wallet. You're good to go. And right now they have their holiday special on right now, up to 47% off the entire collection of Ridge products, including the wallets. They have over 50 different colors, different styles, whether you're looking for leather, carbon fiber, they have it all. You've got to get one for Christmas. Dad's going to love it. You get some underwear, you get him some socks, and a Ridge wallet. Only from the team at Ridge. Click that link in the video description at ridge.com/Trav. You just click on the link. There's no promo code. Get up to 47% off. And if you're looking for a badass travel carry-on suitcase, the same one that I've been using the last couple months, they have like a olive green colored suitcase. They have a matte black, super stylish. It's got like a little gitch bag in there too, so you can put dirty laundry in. It's fantastic. Highly recommend. And thank you to Ridge for being the final sponsor for today's show.
I beat the hell out of this thing, and it's still holding up. Like, there's scratches all over it. I love it. It's still like it's almost brand new the way it holds up. I love it.
If you break it too, they'll send you a new one. It is warranty proof, or it is life proof with their warranty. Break it, boom, send you a new one. I haven't been able to break one yet. I've tried. Trust me.
How much contact do you have with Kasimir?
Kaskisuo?
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him much the last couple of years. I remember when Pat Shea and I were doing the podcast when we first started. We had him on twice. I wasn't a big fan of him charging for his time in the community with different people when they're asking, hey, you mind coming on my podcast? Sure, I'll charge you $250 a piece. I wasn't a fan of that just because for me personally, I always found that my success and any money that I make in the community is because of people investing in my videos and watching them. So I feel like I owe people that time. I still to this day, anytime somebody emails me, hey, you mind coming to my podcast? Okay, you have 3 viewers. I don't care. The fact that you support the show and you support everything that I've done, I'm more than happy to give you an hour of my time. I didn't like that personally. I know he wasn't a fan of my stance on that. I think he had the stance of something along the lines of, well, Carey Price is going to charge for his time, so why wouldn't I? And he got a little bit of flack for comparing himself to Carey Price, but I get the perspective. I just think that you shouldn't be doing that to fellow members of the community. But he's a world-class goaltender, and I've actually reached out to him it might be 3 times in the last year, asking him, hey, you want to come on the podcast? We would love to have you. We can have a genuine conversation. I'm not here to grill you. I'm here to have you tell your story. I think a collaboration between him and I would be great. He has declined every time. And hey, totally up to you. If you don't want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to, dude. But I would love to have him on the show, and I'd love to ask him, just have a genuine conversation about the adversity he's had trying to film videos while also playing real pro hockey, where we're talking about real full-time money in the $50,000 to $70,000 range like all American League guys get. I know in the SHL they're getting anywhere between $70,000 and $100,000 a year. Like, we're talking a real pro goalie, real pro money, not $125 in the Fed. So it's a shame he doesn't want to come on the podcast, but I'd love to have him on. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
I don't think him coming on this podcast is going to get him a job in the NHL. So I mean, to him, it's whatever. It's not a big deal. But
of course not. But it seems
right
like
now,
he's trying to go influencing full time, and if he wants to be influencing full time, getting your message across on as many shows and brands as possible is good for everybody. So.
Well, maybe he's working towards that, eventually. But I mean, with the Laval Rocket right now, he's got an over 900 save percentage. I'm just looking at his stats here right now. He's got a 2.9 save percentage, 2.9 goals against, 909 save percentage, 13 games in with the Laval Rocket.
But that was last season, not this season.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He's unemployed. He's unemployed.
So that's kind of my question. I mean, I know he's had this stance of like, hey, I'm playing NHL or nothing. He is Finnish. That's his nationality. It's crazy to me that he wouldn't go back there and play. I mean, he'd be a non-import. There's a great professional league over there, very high-skilled league. I don't understand why he's sitting on the sidelines trying to cram a square peg into a round hole when he could probably go home and find the team in a heartbeat and get all that content that he's looking for. I'm not trying to call him out. I've never met you before. I'm sure you're a great guy, but I just don't understand why you seem to be your own worst enemy.
Well, if I was to put myself in his shoes, again, I'm not, but if I was, you want to play in the NHL, and if you want to do that, going to the East Coast League is basically a death sentence. So it has to be in the American League or bust. And as we've covered many times before, he's 31, I believe, maybe 30. He's getting older. In the goaltending realm, that is old as shit. In life, absolutely not. But in the goaltending realm, very old.
Right,
so
and we talked about that before. So why wouldn't you go back and actually get on a team and play at a very high level of professional hockey rather than kind of grind it out down here and hopefully get a job in the A? Go back and play and put up some huge numbers if you can back in your home and get re-centered.
Well, I would have to assume that it's a little bit of the ego, like we talked about. He wants to play in the American League so he can get close to the NHL. And dude, I totally resonate with that because like my ego is what drives me to want to play in the minor pro hockey ranks and to play in the Fed and to do what I've done the last couple of years. But at the same time, I'm just going to assume he's got voices in his ear yapping at him, telling him, hey, you're an American League goalie. You should be an American League goalie. But when you can get, as an NHL GM or an American League GM, when you can get the same goalie 10 times over, none of them do YouTube or have any baggage, you're going to pick the guys without baggage, right? I've used the analogy before, but if I'm seeing 4 chicks and I'm trying to see which one I want to see the most, if chick number 4 is talking to her ex-boyfriend, see you later. I'm not going to bother with you, but the other 3 I'll take more seriously. So I think that's one downside of having him around. He's a little bit older. He's got the experience. He's been an American League All-Star. He started an NHL game for the Leafs. I know it didn't go great. He played a couple minutes with Nashville when Pecorino got hurt a couple years ago. But as you mentioned, he would make a lot of money going to the Finnish league, and he wouldn't be an import. So it's a perfect setup. But the problem is because he sat out, holding out like he did last year, trying to go to the American League and trying to find an injury or whatever and squeak in. And again, he did great in Laval last year. And I think the fact that he did well and the team didn't want to bring him back before the start of the season and he can't get a deal speaks true to, even though he's great, teams are going with guys with less baggage. So, and I think he's also missed the boat on all the European signings because guys sign in Europe in like June. They start the season in July. Now fast forward to November going on December. I'm sure the roster deadlines are coming up soon. You're not going to find many teams willing to take you. So it's a shame. It's a sad situation. I honestly hope for the best for him because, and I covered this a couple weeks ago when we talked about him last, but when he does well, I do well. And when I do well, our show does well. And it's good for the whole community. The whole community grows together. So it's a shame. I'm hoping for the best from him. But what do you think, Dave?
Well, listen, before we wrap up, I will say that I wish him all the best, too, and invite him to come golfing with us, because I know we're going to be out on the East Coast here this summer doing some golf. So see if he wants to come out golfing.
I will say in his video the other day that he posted, he's like, yeah, I just got gassed by the Bruins. I was hoping to be playing sports today. I didn't think it would be golf, but I guess that works, too. Listen, dude, if you're watching the podcast, Kasimir, we'd love to take you golfing in Winnipeg. I know Dave and I are doing a little trip going golfing in Waterton Lakes this summer. Beautiful. It's like Banff without tourism. It's fantastic, and we would love to have you out, dude. Love to have you on the show anytime if you're open to it and the people's suggestion to you not to change their mind. So
Speaking of which, of golf, if you're watching this on Sunday morning, I'm actually going to be in Winnipeg. I'm going to be at Fourth Line Pub and Grill doing some virtual golf from noon to 4 today on the Sunday on November 10th. And if you want to play some virtual golf this winter at Fourth Line, you can book this is for Winnipeggers, or if you want to come into Winnipeg, if you go to the Fourth Line, just Google Fourth Line Golf, then you can use my name, Wheeler, and you get 10% off as a discount code to go do some golfing. But I'm going to be there today from noon to 4 watching some football and playing some golf.
And if you come film him and call him a jive turkey, he will smash your phone.
I just might. Make sure you have Apple Care.
No phone is safe around Dave Wheeler or Jason Kelce.
Go watch some of our old golf video that we did this past July out in Saskatoon. That was a great little video. You can find that on this same channel here.
Yeah, and if you got nothing better to do and you want to talk some shit to Dave, you can talk some shit to me because my swing sucks. But we're getting better. We're working on it. Slowly but surely.
Go play some virtual golf. Go over the winter. I'll take you over to Fourth Line. We'll work on that swing in front of the virtual golf machine.
We should do that in Christmas when I come back and we get some episodes in person. We'll go golfing.
Love that idea.
Get me sized up for some clubs too. Make sure I get some style and some good fit, and make sure I'm looking the part.
You look good with your mums. You look good with your mom's clubs in your hand.
Even though they're like 6 inches too short. I tell my mom every time we go golfing, I'm like, this is the best these clubs have ever performed. They've never seen a performance this good. It's the greatest. I know. Sorry, I said I wouldn't do anything like that today. It's the greatest.
Hey, big shout out to all of our veterans out there and current military members in Canada. Here, we're celebrating Remembrance Day tomorrow, the 11th day of the 11th hour, the 11th month, and we celebrate it every year with a moment of silence. So, hats off to all of our veterans out there and current active members.
And hey, if you're a veteran, send me an email, travisridgen35@gmail.com. Please send me an email, give me your shipping info, and we'll get you out some merch. Thank you for your service. Canada, U.S., doesn't matter. We appreciate your service, and please make sure you do that because we'd love to say thank you to you.
Absolutely. Wrap us up. Take us home, Trav.
My name is Travis Ridgen. I'm your favorite former minor pro, now semi-pro goalie in Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's Dave Wheeler. He's at the top morning show in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years. We do a new episode of this show, Slangin The Bizkit podcast, every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in Winnipeg, 9 in Calgary, 8 on the Pacific Northwest Coast in downtown Vancouver. Subscribe on YouTube, leave a review on Apple or Spotify, and we will see you next Sunday if Dave doesn't smash your phone this weekend golfing.